Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Now, if you guys needed any more reason to be supporting the Freedom Caucus that is standing in Kevin McCarthy's way, then look no further. I mean, I know a lot of different people have different perspectives on this issue. Some people think it's counterintuitive, it's not accomplishing anything, it's just hurting the GOP. I tend to agree with that notion. I think this is one of the best things that has happened in a really long time. It's time to be serious about friggin' draining the swamp. But if you need it, I am 100% behind Matt Gaetz's cause here. I think in the long run, he's doing a great service to Republican voters. But if you had your doubts, if you were on the fence or not sure how you felt about this, well, this right here, in my opinion, is probably going to change your perspective. Question: who the hell do these people think they are? I mean, the sheer audacity of these neocon clowns. You represent the Republican voter base. You answer to them. If certain Republican representatives are standing in your way from winning the speakership, it's because they're representatives, representing the will of their constituents. Where does the Kevin McCarthy faction get off disregarding the will of those constituents, and rather than hearing those concerns, rather than finding a candidate that fits both factions, using threats, using blackmail to subvert the will of the American electorate in an attempt to strong-arm and force themselves in these positions of power despite the concerns of American voters. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that as Chip Roy spills the beans, reinforcing the need for this battle to stop Kevin McCarthy from attaining speakership. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, holy bombshell. Probably all I really need to say to introduce this clip. Take a look at this statement from Chip Roy on Fox News. Absolutely scathing.
Not a no. We're voting for names. I voted for Byron Donalds, my friend, a conservative, someone who is not of the swamp. He has been here only for now his second term. I might vote for some similar folks who have a track record and a history of standing up to the swamp. What I'm not going to do is blindly do what the swamp does. My constituents didn't send me here to do that. Is anybody listening to this actually happy with what Congress is doing? Is anybody out there? Are you? Or anybody in America, do you think Congress is doing a good job? The answer is no. So why would we embrace the status quo? Why would we keep doing the same thing over and over again? That's what's happening in that room. And this morning, a group of folks threatened some of us, and they lost votes on that. We're not going to back down until we get in a room and we decide how we're going to be able to stand up and fight for the American people, no matter who the speaker is.
Congressman, you just used the word threatened there in the House GOP conference meeting this morning. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, it's been public information out there that Mike Rogers threatened to say he's going to kick those of us off of any committees who dared to challenge the coronation of the speaker. And the reality is that was a threat, and it was not received well by a lot of people in the room. And Mike Rogers is emblematic of the problem. He is precisely why we end up with bills like the $1.7 trillion monstrosity that was destroying our freedom, funding bureaucrats, and frankly, actually had specific language in it not allowing us to secure the border.
Now, it's not exactly new information. We've heard little rumors and whispers of this happening. But Chip Roy goes on the record publicly on Fox News and says, yes, absolutely, the Kevin McCarthy faction told us that if we didn't vote their way, that if we didn't support their neocon rhino boy, Kevin McCarthy, that they would strip us from our committee positions. Do as we say or else. Does that sound like American democracy to you? Does that sound like a GOP leadership which respects its voters, respects its representatives, and the constituents that they represent? Or does that sound like out of control Washington swamp creatures who feel entitled to the power which they wield? You don't get elected by threatening people to vote for you. That's some third world autocratic BS. You get elected by appealing to voters. You get elected by representing the will of the voters. And clearly, Kevin McCarthy, the McCarthy faction, resent that idea. And they're resorting to the most despicable, dishonest, and desperate of measures to try to get their boy McCarthy across the line. Measure number 1, gaslighting. Representative-elect like bacon. The pro-McCarthy side, there's anger out there right now. There's the Chaos Caucus, quote, the Taliban 19, the Taliban 20. There's anger because we negotiated in good faith and gave a lot more than we ever wanted. We gave 2 sets of demands to him, and Kevin McCarthy almost gave them everything, but nothing in return. Now, this is not confirmed, but it is from a congressional source. In fact, a senior congressional correspondent for Fox News, so it seems legitimate. The pro-McCarthy side is now labeling the Freedom Caucus, the 19 to 20 individuals voting against McCarthy, as, quote, the Taliban 19 or the Taliban 20. So that's the gaslighting portion. Desperate strategy number 2, straight up lying and fear-mongering. Lindsey Graham writes on Twitter, how does this end? It ends when Kevin McCarthy secures 213 votes, one more than Hakeem Jeffries. To those Republicans who suggest it is better to have Hakeem Jeffries as Speaker, you must understand that that means backing policies like DC statehood and Puerto Rican statehood. First of all, from my understanding, DC statehood is unconstitutional and the likelihood of that passing the Senate is basically zero. This entire tweet is nothing but fear-mongering and disinformation. First of all, Hakeem Jeffries will not win. Hakeem Jeffries would have to receive Republican votes in order to secure speakership. That's not happening. The idea that you have to vote for Kevin McCarthy or else Hakeem Jeffries is going to become speaker is straight up propaganda. It's a lie. It's fear-mongering. And then to take it to that next dishonest level with this even more ridiculous claim, support Kevin McCarthy or else Democrats are going to pass DC statehood and Puerto Rican statehood. Absolutely stupid. Frustrating and stupid. Democrats have had the House for 4 years and the Senate for the last 2. Has DC statehood and Puerto Rican statehood been on the table a legitimate concern? No, absolutely not. But that's what these dishonest establishment neocon goons do. They lie and manipulate and use these disgusting tactics to get themselves in positions of power. They don't represent you, they represent themselves. And that's where we get to the third tactic, the third act of desperation, and probably the most despicable, which is saying a lot considering the last 2 were quite despicable. Just in, Kevin McCarthy has begun talks with Democrats about a deal to support a consensus candidate for Speaker or hold out from voting to ensure he needs to reach a lower threshold. Kevin McCarthy has one job, to appeal to Republican voters and get elected. But since that's not working for Kevin McCarthy, instead of stepping down, instead of doing the right thing and being a man of integrity and dignity, he's threatening people, vote for me or else I will take something away from you. And when that doesn't work, he's saying, okay, fine, I'll just get Democrats to support me, or Democrats to hold out from voting, so I need a lower threshold to beat Hakeem Jeffries. If ever you needed more reason not to support this guy, this man's so addicted to power and so addicted to his political career, his influence, and his titles, well, here it is. Here's all the information that you need. An entitled Washington swamp rat who just doesn't care. Who just doesn't care about doing the right thing at all. And actually, speaking of entitlement, Matt Gaetz just sent a letter to the architect of the Capitol questioning why Kevin McCarthy is even allowed to occupy the Speaker of the House suite in the first place. Dear Mr. Blanton, I write to inform you that the Speaker of the House office located in the U.S. Capitol building is currently occupied by Representative Kevin McCarthy. As of this morning, the 117th Congress adjourned, and a Speaker from the 118th Congress has not been elected. After 3 undecided votes, no member can lay claim to this office. It shows you exactly how entitled this Kevin McCarthy character is. For him, it's not in question. There's no debate, there's no discussion, there's no questioning the legitimacy to his throne. Kevin McCarthy, in his own mind, is entitled to it, even to the extent that he is occupying the office of the Speaker of the House without even being elected, because one way or another, he's probably gonna get what he wants. Again, you might be holding the position that all of this stuff is counterproductive, that it's hurting the GOP image, that it's dividing the GOP. The GOP is already dysfunctional. It's already divided. And no matter what conservatives do, I mean, the media is gonna run endless hit pieces anyway, so it's not like, public image is really that relevant if you really think about it. At the end of the day, it's about principles. It's about doing the right thing. It's about supporting people who will do the right thing. And that person, I believe, is not Kevin McCarthy. And I don't say that without reason. I've showed you the receipts. Now I'm just curious how you feel. Let me know in the comments, and of course, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you guys feel like joining us here at the Liberal Hive Mind. I'm gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.